To ask you about the attempt on your life. What's that like? Having someone trying to fucking kill you?
Time I was just lucky that the barrel of the gun, the sight was slide off. So when old mate pulled the gun and pulled the trigger at my head, because he had that swinging motion and pulled the trigger, his kind of hand went to the side and the bullets just gone straight past my head. He's rushed him. So because he's rushed him, old mate's pulled the gun towards him, pulled the trigger, shot him straight through the leg. But I still got hit with 10 and a half year whack. So I thought, for a crime I didn't even commit, I thought, if you keep going down this road, you're going to end up in here for another 20 years for a crime you didn't commit, 30 years, even. I said, this isn't a life for me, I need to sober up, get clean and get fit, get healthy, and get back to the old me that I was before I started hitting all the heavy drugs and stuff.
It's inspiring to hear your story. Like it's given me like the goosebumps just to like think about what you went through, just physically being in that condition, and then boom. Welcome everybody to another episode of the Real Drug Talk podcast. My name is Jack Nagle, and on this show we talk about all things alcohol, drugs, addiction recovery, and anything else interesting in the space. Got an awesome show for you today. We had Shannon Althouse on the show with us today. He has a huge story, but before I tell you about that, all our shows are brought to you by our in-house coaching program, which is called Connection-Based Living. And what we do that's a little bit different to everybody else is that it is like going to rehab without actually having to go to rehab. So if you're looking for help and you're not connecting with the traditional treatment options that are out there, you can't go away from your family for 30, 60, 90 days. You can't check out of work. You can't check out of life responsibilities for whatever reason it is. You can't just leave your life behind. We might be able to help. You still need to do something intensive if you're stuck with addictive patterns to get the shift happening, but doing something in the community that you can reintegrate into your life and make changes on the go is a really good option for some people. It's not for everybody. Some people do need to go to rehab or do need to access other services, but we might be able to help. So you can book in a free consultation. You can book in a free consultation call with us. It'll be with myself. We can chat through your options, do an assessment, see if you're right for the program, see if we're a right fit for you. If you are, great. If you aren't, we can refer you on and point you in the right direction. So that's connection-based living. So the show today, as I said, was with Shannon Althouse, ex-biker boss from Darwin. If you're a listener, I recommend that you watch the show to get a feel for Shannon and what he's like, because he definitely walks the walk and talks the talk, and he's doing really cool stuff to change his life and change the communities around him and help educate people about living the straighty 180 lifestyle instead of the crime, gangs and drugs and all that kind of stuff. So it was an awesome show. It took us a little while to connect, I think, and get the conversation going. So it's a bit awkward just to kind of start with, but we really started vibing throughout the conversation, I felt anyway, and I got some good stories out of him. And I actually got really inspired by him in the show. So it's a really good one to listen to for anybody that wants a bit of inspiration on how to change your life around from really dark times and really hard spots in your life. So I'll shut up now on the introduction. Hope everybody's enjoying their week. Hope you're enjoying our daily podcast. They're going to keep coming. Peace, everybody. Enjoy the episode. You the 3-minute elevator pitch of your story. So if someone walked into an elevator with you and you had to go up 16 floors and you had 3 minutes to talk to them about your story, how would you tell them? What would you tell them? And what advice would you give them?
Yeah, so 3 minutes, I'll tell them just straight go in there, explain to them how I went from the streets, a little street kid, to teenage gangs, adult gangs, bikie gangs, prison life, hooked on the drugs and alcohol for over 20 years. Been clean and sober now for 9 years. Um, and I changed my life when I went to prison and seen a better purpose for myself after getting sober and that too, to help others
Yeah.
get on that same journey.
Yeah. Amazing, mate. So, okay, so that's what we do. We kind of get the 3-minute version and we riff from there. So you've got street, did you say street kind of kid? Would you say like
Yeah.
little bit of a hooligan?
Yeah, definitely was on the streets, roaming the streets and that with all the little crew and all, like all my mates and stuff that and getting up to no good. So yeah, it's just this place that we found entertainment and enjoyed um and looked after each other.
Yeah. And have you always been from the top end?
Yeah. Oh, so I was born in Darwin, raised in there, and then I moved to Adelaide when I was 15 and lived there for 3 years. Went to high school there and then um, went to year 12. I completed year 12. Didn't get any good grades, but I still went there and did it, and
Nice.
um, then went back to Darwin and yeah, kind of jet set it around, moved to Adelaide, back to Adelaide, then to Perth, to Queensland. So
Yeah. You've been around.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's the transition like to kind of go from like did drugs come in first before you started going to prison, or did you start to go to prison and then drugs came in after prison? Like what was the transition that you had?
Yeah, no, it was definitely drugs. Drugs came first before I ever did my first prison stint. Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of drugs, like how did your drug story start?
I started when I was really young, like it's with just marijuana to begin with, but I'm talking like I think the youngest I remember was maybe 10, 11 years old when one of
Wow.
my uncles actually, yeah, so one of my uncles picked me up. He was only a teenager himself then, but obviously he was in high school and um, I went, you hanging with us today, and took me for a ride, and um, everything they did, I had to do as well. And if I didn't, then I'd cop a punch to the head, or they'd hang me over the top of the like 2-story car park by my ankles and threaten to drop me. And if I didn't
Wow.
so if I didn't do anything that they were doing, um, that yeah, they used to just like kind of like force me into doing it. Otherwise, yeah.
So obviously you guys loved each other, but you would say that there was a bit of like bullying going on there and like extreme peer pressure to kind of do different activities and drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah, 100%, like, but, like, yeah, still got a little bit of resentment, like, still got a little bit of hatred for him too, like,
Yeah.
for when I go look back at it now, like I'm thinking, what a piece of shit, doing that to a kid, you know what I mean? So when you're a
Yeah.
teenager,
Yeah. 100%. 100%. I would feel like that as well. I would feel like that as well. So that's how you got introduced to drugs. So did you say marijuana at 10?
yeah, yeah. So I was first started off with marijuana, and then it was just like a up and down. Like I only ever did it when he'd like forced me pretty much, or I was around him, and then yeah, it wasn't. I didn't actually that and alcohol. That was what I was hitting mainly, but yeah, it didn't really actually hit like heavy drugs until my like early adult stage. 18, 19, 20.
Yeah. 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 And why was that? Did you not really like the effect of drugs, or did you not really like the situation that you're in, being kind of, stood over and bullied by, family and stuff like that?
Oh, look, it's I honestly do not know the answer to that question. It's just, I guess, when it started off through peer pressure and force into taking like I said, doing marijuana and then all that, and then by the time I um experienced like the heavier drugs like meth, ecstasy, cocaine, and all that, like when I was 18, 19, 20, it was more of a recreational. Like the mates were doing it, and then they're like, "Bro, you want some of this?" And just gave me, my first taste, and yeah, it was just kept rolling on from there.
And that's the thing that I always tell people, like, and I think people kind of need to know is that the reason why people take drugs is because at first they're really fun, right? Like you have the greatest times of your life or some of the greatest times of your life on them. Would you say that was the case for you? You had some great times early on in those days in your 20s, taking ecstasy and getting on coke and different stuff like that?
Yeah, definitely. Like, obviously, when you first take them, the euphoria is very high. You know what I mean? Like, it's you only need a tiny bit of it for it to give you the maximum hit. But so the second time you take it, your tolerance levels drop and then drop and drop and drop, and you never recover from the first. So it'll take more and more and more just to get that high, and you know what I mean, for longer. And so yeah, you was just, I just got that in very. I enjoyed it heaps, especially like I said, that just that first initial high that I got from it was just like next level. It was
Yeah.
straight up addict straight away from the get go.
Yeah, yeah. So would you say that you're kind of one of those people that once you had one, you just wanted more and more and more?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I was definitely one of those fellas that, just you couldn't stop, you know what I mean? Like it's just kept going and going and going and more and more and more and just you wanted more and it's just yeah, you'd look for
Yeah,
more.
yeah, 100%. So, and is that where like the prison stuff started to come in, and started to um, play a role in your life, or did that happen before some of that recreational drug use and the harder drug use that you had?
The prison life kind of came into what like in my mid-20s when I was so I was always getting in trouble here and there, but only like minor offences and stuff like that. So um yeah, it wasn't until my early mid-20s that did my first jail stint. So yeah, and that was obviously I was heavily addicted to meth and that at that time, and you know, yeah, and assisting and helping other associates and mates in their
What's it
criminal
like the
activity.
first time? I've never been to prison, and I don't want to go because I'd get beaten up straight away. But what's it like going? What's it like going there the first time? Like what's it like, kind of rolling up, thinking, "Holy shit!" Like, were you nervous
Look,
or
to be honest, it's not just the first time; it's every time. Like
yeah,
like when they move you from block to block, prison to prison, doesn't matter how long you've been in there or what you've done. Like like it's you get there's some mad people and they just don't give two flying fucks.
yeah,
Um, but even those people get when they get moved to a different block, their anxiety levels are that hot, like it's uncomfortable again. So you just go into this like you walk in, you're ready for war. Um, you just do not know where you stand. You know what I mean? Like you don't know
yeah,
if somebody in that block is a friend of an enemy or something like that, or there's a group of people in there that's friends with enemies, that want to get you or something like that, So it's
yeah.
yeah, it's I found that no matter how long I did, like I've done nearly 10 years all up, and
Wow.
yeah, every single time they move me into a different new block or a different block, or even walking into different areas to the visit areas and stuff like that, like I'd always be nervous and like anxieties would be next kicked in where it was like, oh, like I'm gonna walk in here, I'm gonna have to punch on with someone, like
Yeah, 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 yeah. And that's the thing that I find amazing about prison is that people think that um, you're going to put people into prison for, say they get caught with possession of drugs, and you're going to put them into prison to teach them a lesson, but really you're just putting them in a cage with a bunch of other people that are all in survival mode. Their nervous systems are jacked up. Everybody's like wired and ready for anything to happen, and they expect people to kind of heal and get better. You know what I mean? It's it sounds crazy when you put it like that, don't you think?
no, 100%. And like there's that many people inside that place that are on psych meds and getting depot shots and got bipolar schizophrenia, like and just wigging out all the time, you know what I mean? So you're getting put in blocks and positions, even in dorms. Like we was in dormitories, where it's just next level. Heck, like I seen that many all in brawls in the bloody in a dorm with, like with bloody 10 of us blokes in a dorm, like it's just like it
Yeah.
was next level, and
Yeah.
yeah, it just happens all the time, So it's a lot of people coming in for petty little crimes and stuff like that, and getting put in a cell with a couple of lifers. A fellow that's done life here before, seeing even they're walking out the next day with broken nose, fractured eye sockets, whatever like that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty extreme. I've heard some pretty extreme stories, and so I'm interested to know what you think about. Obviously, you've done over 10 years. I want to ask you. You've been quite public in the news about your experience in bike gangs and stuff like that. I hope you don't mind if I ask you some stuff about that. But what do you think about this new trend on TikTok with like young people sort of almost being like idolizing that sort of gang life? Have you seen that at all, or noticed that on TikTok, that kind of trend happening?
no, I haven't noticed any of that, but like it's a lifestyle that anybody like you're always going to have people that are going to think that lifestyle's cool, this lifestyle's cool, this lifestyle's cool. But then I've got some solid brothers and all that too that know that that are with clubs and all that like they that's not their lifestyle at all. I mean, like what they think that these kids think that they're up to and that they're doing is cool. And some of my brothers and that are in the clubs and all that, like yeah, they're tough as fuck, but that's not that's not what they that's not what they like. That's not how they live their life.
Yeah, 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 100%, 100%. Yeah, that's really interesting. That's a good insight. And like, now you mentioned we're jumping around a little bit, and we'll go back to some stuff in your past, but you sort of mentioned now that you try and help other people, get off drugs or live a straight and narrower life. Like, what kind of things do you talk to them about? Like, how do you change someone's mindset if they're thinking that they want to go down that life and down that rabbit hole?
Yeah, well, it's it's kind of a difficult subject even to try and get them on, like because if their mind's set to go down that road, they're going to go down that road. You know what I mean? So if that's the road they want to take, that's the road they want to take. But I'm more of an educational type of level that like obviously I educate them through social media, through my fitness and all my training, exercising reels. You know what I mean? So like, and because I incorporate dance moves and traditional dance moves in
I was
my
watching
in my
it the
reels.
other day. It's unreal how you do that. I love that, man. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. So, and it's actually becoming pretty viral, and like I'm getting that many young lads and all that are messaging me, and their parents are messaging me saying that their kids watch my reels and want to be like me, and want to be fit and have the same mindset as me. So,
That's grouse.
yeah, yeah. So that's what I'm trying to educate and show them that what I'm doing is gangster. You know what I mean? Staying fit, staying lean, staying sober and healthy for like the entire time. 9 years now. Next year, October, will be 10 years. Um, Exercising hard, like hard at it, working hard, like, and every bit of spare time that I have, if it's not doing podcasts or interviews with newspapers and stuff like that, I'm traveling to communities and um, doing talks and stuff. I've got to go to Kununurra in a couple of days and do a 2 days men's health forum up there, do a talk with all the fellas there, and then November I'm heading up to Darwin for the Thrive National Youth Summit. I've been asked to do a half an hour talk in front of the crew there, and that's a massive that's like the biggest youth conference summit in Australia
Wow.
every year. They have it. So yeah, yeah. So to be invited to do a talk to that too is obviously where I'm going. What I'm doing is making an impact around Australia, and people are noticing, and and they're noticing that the change in some of the young fellas, like I've had young young lads as young as 12 years old message me on TikTok from Melbourne, like the slums in Melbourne, saying I'm their idol, you know what I mean? Like that they look up
Yeah.
to me and call
Yeah.
me their big brother, So yeah,
Love
it's
that. I love that. It's really cool. I've really, like people say negative shit about social media. People say negative shit about any sort of tool, but I like to look at the positives, and that's what I've noticed. There's a few of you guys out there that have really lived these kind of super colorful lives, and have been through some hardcore shit that are doing the right thing and giving back and educating people on how to live a different life and how to live a good life. And it really hits home with people because you got the credibility to be able to do it, right? Like nobody's going to say to you that I hope you don't take offense to this, but because you got the tats on the face and the story and all that kind of stuff, nobody's going to say to you that, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. They're going to listen to you, right? So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, like, and I've had a couple, obviously a fair few people and all that try and talk a little bit talk smack about whatever I post and this and that, but like I find it quite hilarious, and I don't even react to them now anymore because I've built my mindset not to let it bother me, because obviously they haven't done their research on me enough for them to know that what they're saying is so untrue, so far from the truth, that like all you got to do is Google my name and you can find everything that what they're saying is like contradicted. You know what I mean? Like, so like I've got hospital records from when I've had 3 attempts of my life being taken. You know what I mean? Like I've got surgeries, I've got operations, I've broken bones, staples, stitches, comas, eating piss through tubes. I've got prison records. I've got newspaper articles in and out of jail. You know what I mean? Like from since day one. So there's what I'm saying is true. What I'm saying is the truth, and I think that's why it hits home for a lot of people, because one, they know it's the truth, because all you got to do is just search me up and you can see that what I'm saying and I speak and has always been the truth from day one. You know what I mean? And two, it's raw. Like I don't fabricate it. I don't lie about it, and I don't brag about it as well, or promote that it's a good life or good anything about it was good. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay, so let's go there and talk about the life a little bit, so that people can connect with it and understand where you've been. How did you get involved in bike gangs?
yeah, it was definitely from one of my cousins he was affiliated with them down south. And when he came to Darwin, he called me up because he knew I was from Darwin. He's like, Cass, I'm coming to Darwin, I want to catch up, introduce you to these lads. And they came up to Darwin, and because I was starting a chapter up there, and I met them and um, went out and partied with them. And yeah, one thing led to another, and I hit the meth. And before you knew it, I got a face and head full of tattoos, and I become a member, and I become the boss of them. And yeah, and then went to jail for a attempted murder for a charge I didn't even commit. So and had to do the time for it. I'm still doing the time for it to 2027, and I didn't commit the crime or have any knowledge of that crime even being committed until 2 days after it happened. You know what I mean? So
Wow. Wow. That's a full-on thing to go through. So to go back, so you became the boss of the bike gang. What does that mean? Like the chapter of Darwin, you became the boss of that, or bigger than that?
yeah, well, that's what I was labelled. Yeah, so it's I was just a high-ranking member. So um, yeah, and looking after some of the other lads and stuff. So so they gave me a high rank in the club, and um, yeah, I was just continued to do that until I went to jail. And then when I went to jail, it's obviously doing all that time, sobering up, and then meeting all the kids from the Royal Commission into the youth saga that happened in Darwin that started the nationwide the Dondale youth saga.
Yep.
Where
Yep.
all the kids
Yep.
they got all the compensation payouts and stuff like that for being tortured in the rural Dondale. So I started
Fucked
reading.
up
They
shit.
started turning 18 years old. Yeah, yeah. So they started turning 18 years old, and when they were turning 18, they were getting transferred to Holt's prison in Darwin and maximum security. And I was living in maximum security then for over a year. And they were coming in, and I was like, "Come here, young fellow. Who's your family?" And a couple of them were my nephews anyway. But I was like, and they're asking me, you know, "Oh, unks," you know, because they started calling me unks, you know, and
Yeah.
um, asking me for advice on this and that for what's going on with their court cases there for the Royal Commission, and I helped them through that, you know, and I read some of the transcripts and brief of evidence and that stuff that was happening to them in juvies from these officers, plus at home, and it's just disgusting, you know. So I thought, and then
Yeah.
once I helped them, I seen how happy they were, and you know, the love and respect they gave to me showed that what these newspapers and um, officers and that for corrections and all that were labeling them was far from the truth, you know, as what type of characters they were, you know, because they weren't like that towards me at all ever. You know, they showed me love the whole time, looked after me, you know, I looked after them, you know, like, and they still do today. So
Yeah. And I find that it's so interesting, you know, like I find that as well with people that I work with, you know, they get labeled junkies and scumbags and all this stuff. And like when you just connect with them on a human level and have a conversation, offer them a cup of tea and a biscuit, like and have a chat, you know, like you get that human to human connection with somebody, and you discover that they're not the labels and the shit that everybody talks about them, you know. It's really interesting that you bring that point up. Yeah. Yeah. That's really
yeah,
cool that you're able to do that for those kids. That's amazing. You must feel good about that.
yeah, definitely, you know, like it's like this just to see the excitement and then how happy they got too, you know, the young fellas and that of me helping them, and you know, like still to this day, you know, like I got a few of them on my. They called me from prison, and in the women's section, men's, you know, like, and I help them out all the time, you know, so you know, and when they get out of jail, I make sure that they got clothes, they got shoes, you know, like they got, you know, money to get a feed and stuff like that, you know, I'll pick them up, take them to get a feed and stuff, and you know, and they always, every single time, they always talk to me about wanting to change, they want to do what I'm doing. They always say that, you know, so when they've got it in their head, anybody does, that they want to change, they want to sober up, they want to start doing good in life, I got time for them, you know what I mean? So I'll help them no matter what, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So just to go back, so you're running this bike gang, and I imagine life's pretty kind of hectic, and you're on the meth as well. Like, how much meth are you doing? And like, so did you smoke it or did you inject it, or how did you use it?
Yeah, I was just smoking it and snorting it, you know? So it's, and I'm talking far out, like all day, every
A lot.
day. Yeah, yeah, for years, you know, like, you know, I'd have a little break here and there in between, you know, only for a few days, a couple of weeks max, and then, you know, and that carried on for nearly 10 years, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
And did you just have so much because you just had such an unlimited supply, obviously having access to it through, you know, the crime gang and obviously drugs being a part of that. Is that why you were able to do it all day, every day? Did you just have like such good access to it?
yeah, yes, it's good access to it, you know, like, and, you know, obviously, you know, like I was a bit of a bluer then back then too. So, you know, I used to punch on and that we'd go town on it and blue. And so a lot of the fellas
Yeah.
and a lot of the brothers and all that too. And, you know, they didn't shout me because of that, but like, you know, they just all looked up to me as well. So they just like, "Oh, bro, come with me to town," you know, and we'd all
Yeah.
blaze up in the car. And but they knew that straight away. Like if anything kicked off, you know, I'd have their back and just punch it. You know, like I'd just punch on with anyone, you know. So
Yeah.
you know, back in my younger days, you know, in my 20s and 30s. So
Yeah. 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 I can see how it happens, how it goes down. So take us to the lowest moment of your life. So you've been through a lot. What's the lowest moment that you experienced through addiction, prison, all this stuff? What's the lowest moment?
probably one of the most hardest moments, the lowest moments, is looking at a life sentence, 25 years in jail for a crime I didn't commit, and there's nothing I could do about it except
Yeah.
cop it on the chin, plead guilty, and then get thrown into jail not knowing what you're going to get. I got told by my lawyer I'm going to get sentenced to 14 to 16 years.
I was going to say, is that why? Why would you plead guilty if you didn't do it? Is that why?
So,
Because you get a
so
lesser sentence?
yeah, yeah. So the story is like, obviously with one of my attempts of my life being taken, after I got discharged from, I was in hospital for about 6 weeks in a coma, everything. And when I got discharged, the lad who tried knocking me the first time tried grabbing a crew to run through my house after I got discharged, and I was bedridden, broken bones, you name it. So, and I had no weapons. So, in order to protect myself, I went and bought machetes and axes, took them home.
Yeah.
And I've taken all my oxys and all that, all my pain meds, because I got 7 broken ribs, 2 broken shoulder blades. I had tore tendons in my knees, torn ligaments in my shoulders. Like, I was absolutely fucked. So I've taken all my endones and oxys and all that, and I've passed out. And then the fellas who was there, my housemate and that, he's called up a few lads to come and watch over me while I sleep. And they've gotten drunk, and they've gone and grabbed all the weapons that I've just purchased and went through their place and attacked them first. So because I purchased these weapons,
It's on you.
instantly I've been charged with attempted murder, and there's no way in the world with a face like mine that you're going to find a jury's going to find you not guilty of having any knowledge of this crime being committed after you've just purchased the weapons that were used in it. You know what I mean? So the only way I could avoid, I didn't even know it happened 2 days later, but the only way I could avoid that was by pleading guilty, because under the Northern Territory Mandatory Sentencing Acts, if I didn't plead guilty to this and they found me guilty, which they would have, I would have got 25 years in jail. And it already happened to
Wow.
a mate of mine. Yeah, and it already happened to a mate of mine. Maybe I think it was like about 6 years before this. So I wasn't, and he got hit. He got smacked hard, and it took him 10 years to fight it before they actually released him from jail.
Wow.
He didn't even, yeah, and he was another one, didn't have anything to do with the crime or anything like that, and he still got life in prison. He got longer than the actual blokes who committed the murder. And so I thought, nah, well, I'm not going through what he's gone through. So I just pled guilty to it. And then from there on, once I got sentenced, I thought, all right, well, I had sat down and had a good solid look at my own life and where I was at and where I want to be and where I'm heading. And I thought, wow, I was like, I just dodged a bullet there. I just dodged life in jail. And
Apologies, everybody. A quick interruption to the podcast. This show is brought to you by Connection Based Living. If you're looking for some support and help, but you're not connecting with the traditional treatment options, you don't want to go to rehab, you can't get away from your family or go away from your family for 30, 60, 90 plus days, you can't check out from work, you can't check out from your life responsibilities, we might be able to help. We help people beat addictive patterns without having to go to rehab and without even having to give up forever if you don't want to. So we do things really differently. It's not for everyone, but it is a good option if you are not connecting with the traditional treatment options. So check us out. There's a free consultation below. Book in, you'll have a chat with me. We'll do an assessment, see if you're a right fit for the program, see if we're a right fit for you. If not, can refer you on somewhere else. If so, let's be part of your journey and change your life. So that's Connection Based Living. Links are below. Book a free consultation call. Hope to chat to you soon. And let's get back to the podcast.
life
Enjoy.
in jail, and but I still got hit with 10 and a half year whack. So I thought, for a crime I didn't even commit. And I thought, like, if you keep going down this road, you're going to end up in here for another 20 years for a crime you didn't commit, 30 years, even. I said, so I said, this isn't a life for me, I need to sober up, get clean and get fit, get healthy, and, get back to the old me that I was before I started hitting all the heavy drugs and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. It's very powerful, man. So it was that sense of powerlessness that really got you, that really was that low moment, just not feeling like you couldn't do anything about the sentence that was going to happen, that was the hardest part.
Yeah. Well, that's like, it's one thing going to court and, your hands are you're in the judge's hands, your life. But when you commit that crime, you kind of accept it. You know what I mean? Like you've got that acceptance over
Yeah,
it. You kind of like, oh, who cares? You know, like, oh, I'm only going to get this, and this is, you know, I've done this or I've done that, and you
that
know,
makes
in
sense.
most
Yeah.
cases, but but with mine, I was just like, fuck, like you got ripped from your bed, zip tied, guns, the barrel of the gun smacking you in the face, you know, threatening you to move, and they'll pull the trigger. Then dragged into the police station, charged with attempted murder, then dragged into prison, still recovering. Like mine, this is only 2 days after I got out of hospital. I've still got 7 broken ribs, 2 broken shoulder blades, torn tendons, ligaments, staples still in me, stitches still all through me, and yeah, and then left in there to fend for yourself, left in there to recover. Like they didn't take me to any of my doctor's appointments or anything like that, any of my physio appointments. So like I was just, yeah, and when you're going through that process and you've been kidnapped and held against your own will by a Northern Territory Police Force, you know, it's and then thrown in a correctional facility and denied bail and or anything like that from a judge, when you're completely innocent, 100% completely innocent, haven't got one thing to do with this crime, then you know it's a massive, massive eye opener, you know. And there's only 2 ways you can go about it, and I've seen this happen with a couple of brothers. One, they gangster on, join gangs, form gangs, and be big standovers in prison and just beat and
Dive
take
into the
money off
life.
anybody that,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, like, and that's pretty much every case of what's happened, you know, that I've ever seen. Like I'm like in the NT, I don't think I've seen anybody that's done what I've done yet. So, or doing
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
Yeah. Man, it's inspiring to hear your story. Like it's given me like the goosebumps just to like think about what you went through just physically being in that condition. And then, you know, I know what stupid fucking correctional facilities can be like and how they treat people or mistreat people by not taking them to appointments when they need medical attention and stuff like that. Just to
Yeah,
hear the state that you're in and how you must have, the mental strength that you must have had to get through all of that must have been immense. So it's giving me goosebumps. It's inspiring. I can see why you're getting messages from people saying that you're their uncle. You know, I can see why. I
yeah.
wanted. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, no, you're right. Go on. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the attempt on your life. What's that like? Having someone trying to fucking kill you?
It's definitely a fucking next level rush, that's for sure. You know, so one, I never thought that they'd get close to it. And there was 3 times, twice I nearly died. The third time I was just lucky that the barrel of the gun, the sight was slide off. So when old mate pulled the gun and pulled the trigger at my head, because he had that swing in motion and pulled the trigger, his kind of hand went to the side and the bullets just ripped, like gone straight past my head. Gunpowder went in my eyes, and when I ducked down because the gunpowder went in my eyes, my mate who was with me thought that I got shot. So and
Oh,
luckily he's this has made him angry, and he's rushed old mate. And when he's rushed old mate, because old mate's missed the first shot, but then he's put the gun to my head and was going to put one
the trigger.
through my head, you know. And
Yeah.
luckily that my mate, rest in peace, he passed away now last year, and luckily he's rushed him. So because he's rushed him, old mate's pulled the gun towards him, pulled trigger, shot him straight through the leg, and like I've come good again. And long story short, I ended up sorting this fella out and
Yeah.
um, grabbed my mate, had to carry him back to the car, chucked him in the car. We've driven off, and I bandaged him up, just took him home and did a bit of surgery to him at home for myself, and yeah, and then we lived on for another day, So that was one case.
Holy shit.
The other two. So one time I got told when I woke up from my coma, the doctor told me that I should have died in the ambulance. That I shouldn't even survived that ambulance trip from where it happened to when I got to the hospital.
Yeah.
And then the surgeon, when I woke up again from a surgery after having to get rushed to emergency surgery and had to get operated on, it was life or death like operation. they told me, the surgeon actually came and visited me in ICU and told me, he goes, you should have died in that operating theatre. He told me on the way to the operating theatre, he goes, look, Shannon, I'm not going to lie to you. When in these situations, we usually let you call your loved ones. Like, we'll give you the phone, you call your loved ones and say your goodbye to them personally. He goes, but we haven't even got time for that. You've lost a lot of blood. We don't know where you're bleeding from. You're bleeding internally, and we have to open you up right now. And he goes, and you've lost about 3.5, 4 liters of blood. You're going to lose another liter and a half, maybe 2 in the operating theatre. We've only got enough. I think it was like 2 liters to pump back into me, or blood. And he said,
Wow.
I'm not going to, yeah. And the surgeon said straight out, he goes, look, I'm not going to lie to you. You're not going to survive this operation. He goes,
Wow.
you're going to die. He goes, I'm just telling you the truth, Shannon. He goes, so is there anything you'd like us to tell your loved ones? And I just said, yeah, just tell them I love them, miss them, and I'll be watching them. And yeah, and that was it. I was out, and then I woke up in ICU, and the surgeon spun out that I actually survived it, and they all came up, everybody that operated on me, and come shook my hand and said I was very lucky, and that I should have died. Like, they said if there's anybody else, they would have died straight out.
Wow. Wow. And that's they're crazy stories. So the first time was a shoot, or the first experience you told us about was a shooting. Were the other 2 times shootings as well?
Nah, nah. So the other time was obviously an edged weapon, and then the other, I got ran over in one of them as well. So hit and run.
Holy
So I was
shit.
walking. Yeah, so I was walking, and I seen an old mate, and the fella who I was looking for, he seen me walking, and he kind of like sat there in the middle of the road and revving his engine. He was in a Hilux, like with a bull bar, everything, and I thought, oh, this week can't see. He's weak as piss, like he's not going to run me over. And then he first gear, second gear, third gear, he kept coming, I'm guessing, he thought that I was probably going to jump out of the road, and I thought he's weak as piss. He's going to swerve, he's not going to run me over. But yeah, I was both wrong about that, and yeah, he just ran clean over me, So yeah, it fucked me up there.
And how fast do you reckon he was going when he hit you?
Oh, he was in fourth gear, so he hit me pretty hard, broke all my ribs, my shoulder blade, 3 of my ribs went through my lung. I remember coughing up blood, like I hit the ground and everything was black, and then slowly my vision started coming back, and I could see up the road, and he was like, he like locked the brakes up and like spun around, and he was sitting there just looking at me, watching me, and I thought he was just going to drive straight back over me, and I'm like laying there, and I could, my vision slowly started coming back, and then I seen him, and then I thought, like, went into panic mode, I think this, like, I couldn't move, I couldn't talk, I couldn't even do anything. I thought he's going to run me over. But then
Yeah.
my fingers started moving, and then my toes started moving, and then I started hearing ringing in my ears, and then my hearing started coming back, and then
The
I
body's
don't know how
amazing, isn't it? The body's amazing.
oh, it's next level. I don't know how I managed to push myself off the ground, with all those broken ribs and torn tendons and broken shoulder blades and you name it. But I did. I pushed myself off the ground. I coughed up a heap of blood, and when I did that, I knew straight away I was dying. And I told my mate. This is the same mate who saved me from getting shot as well. He was with me on this trip as well.
He's a good
So
mate.
yeah, yeah. Well, he actually saved me again. So because of him carrying me to the car. Before I had to carry him to the car because he got shot through the leg. Well, this time
Yeah.
he carried me to the car because I got ran over. And yeah, he ended up getting me to the hospital in Palmerston there, and in up in Darwin, and yeah, the ambulance came, and straight away they were just in panic mode. Like, the paramedic in the back of the ambulance is like, you need to hurry up to the driver. They had to get another ambulance and an escort to get us there even faster. And then the paramedic who was working on me said to the paramedic driver, he's like, I need to do it. I need your permission. We need to do it now. Otherwise, we're going to lose him. And then I don't know what they were talking about, but the driver's like, yep, I give you permission. And then boom, I was gone. Like, that's all I remember. I was out.
Right,
And then,
right.
yeah, then I woke up in the Royal Darwin Hospital, um, and there was 2 detectives standing over the top of me, and they said to me, oh, look, Shannon, who did it? Who did it? And I said, I'm not fucking talking to you dogs. And they're like, they just, who did it? I said, I'm not fucking talking to you. Give up. And I said, I said, "Yous mistreated me in the past. Why would I want to talk to yous?" And they're like, "No, we didn't." I said, "Yous work for NT Police?" And they're like, "Yep." And I said, "Well, there you go. Yes, yous did." And then, yeah, and then I was the surgeon and the operator said, "Nah, we can't. We have to get him in the operating theatre now." So then they just boom, they knocked me out again, and then took me straight to the to operating theatre.
Wow. Wow. So how many of your 9 lives do you reckon you've used up?
All of them, I reckon. Yeah,
I reckon
the
as
next
well.
one, I think the next one I'm gone. Yeah, I mean, but yeah,
This is only a joke. Don't take offense to this, but like I imagine you'll probably go out lifting like lifting up a box or something and having a mild stroke or something, just something casual,
oh, I agree. You know what I do? I agree with you there. It's it's something that would be like just a freak accident that no one, they're like, how the did that kill him? Like, uh, not even a bullet in a car or a blade or anything to kill him, and then all of a sudden he get, just he gets bitten by a snake or something, and that he dies from that. So.
Yeah. Well, we won't joke about that because we don't want that to happen. So, take us to the moment. You mentioned it before. What was so you got the prison time? How long of a stint did you do in prison? Like, what was the longest stint you did?
So the longest stint I did, Dan, was just under 7 years.
Under 7 years. And when you started that stint, was that time when you sat down with yourself and you had that moment of clarity that you spoke about and said, Shannon, what are you doing? You got to get off the drugs. You got to change your life up. Got to get fit and healthy. Did it happen like that at the start, or did you go through some stuff before you got to that point?
Now, I went through some stuff, like obviously I was very angry because I was in jail and
For something you didn't do? Yeah.
yeah, so I was pissed off with the system. I was pissed off with police. I was pissed off with anybody that I didn't like. And so I was punching on all the time in there. I was threatening officers, threatening other prisoners, um, like, um, and obviously punching people around. And I was always down in maximum security. I was there for nearly 2 years in maximum, over 2 years, all up, 2.5 years, in maximum security, down the back cells, no TV, 23-hour lockdown, nothing like that. Like in and out of that, like you go on little segments, like so.
What's
Um,
that like? Is that hard to get through mentally?
you know what? To be honest, it is at the beginning, but when you get placed in that position and you pretty much live in that, you get used to it, and you just like. Like you just yarn, like have mad chats to other prisoners that are doing the same thing as you, like separate
Yeah.
confinement, and
Yeah.
you just have a good laugh. You just tell stories, and like, and then it was about, I think, 14, maybe 14 months when I was still at Max Block, and I got into a big mad punch on, and I got put back in the SEPCON again, and one of my like younger brothers, he calls me his big brother, but like out of respect, and like I kind of joked about being Buddhist and just to get on special meals, and he reads a lot, and he had this book on like the beginning of Buddha, like how Buddha became Buddha.
Wow.
Yeah, and he came to my latch and dropped it, and he's like, "Hey, my big brother, I got this book on your religion, and I'm thinking, what religion? I'm not religious. And then he's given me this book on Buddha, I'm thinking, oh fuck, that's right. I told him, I told him to get on special meals. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
no worries, my brother. I'm gonna put this book down. I'll read it, And I hate reading. Like I've never started anything and finished anything in my life, not even in primary school, high school, you name it. And
I'm the same as you.
and man, I'm telling you now, the next morning come, he asked me, you started reading that book? Yeah, I started reading it. No, what do you reckon? No, it's mad. Second day come through, he asked me again. Third day he come through, asked me again. I thought, fuck. And this young lad, he could blue, like he could punch, like his track record inside of jail for bluing was next level. So
Yeah.
I thought, if I don't start reading this book and he starts asking me questions about it, I'm gonna have to start mixing it with him. So I thought, fuck. I said, no, I'll just start reading it. And I opened this book. This is 100% hands down, no word of a lie. Like anybody that done maximum security would be like, prison with me will tell you the same. I picked up this first book ever and started reading it, and I shit you not, by the time I got released, this was 2016. By the time I got released in 2023, I'd read every single book in Darwin Prison and Alice Springs Corrections on Zen, mindfulness, and Buddhism.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing. From that one book.
from that one book. That's what my turning point was about. The examples they gave in this book, it was freakishly, um, like it's like it jumped into my actual head, and they gave you an example. So an A and a B, like if this scenario happens, this is how you act out if if you're not mindful about things, And then they'd give it like a scenario B, like, but instead of acting out, like if next time this scenario happens, don't go down this, stop yourself before you go too far down A, and then try work toward B. And but the scenario, like the examples I was given was exactly how I was, exactly how I think, exactly how, like from from day dot, like from exact point to start to finish. It just blew my mind, and I was like, wow. And I was like, well, I've got years, in this prison. Like I've still got 6 years to go before I can go for parole. I was like, I'm gonna have to start. I was like, I'm gonna start putting this into practice. Even though I didn't believe it at all whatsoever. I hadn't,
Yeah.
like I thought this is all bullshit. But even though it blew my mind, I still thought no, you can't change my mind because I'm 30 years old, and you can't reteach the mind the stuff.
Yeah.
Well, after days went by, weeks went by, months went by, it worked. Like it's like the tiniest little things that used to get to me, even the big things that used to get to me, like it got to the point where they weren't even bothering me anymore. Like from even just names, like someone come up to me and called me a certain name, it'd be punching on straight away. You know what I mean? Like regardless if they meant it or not. And then it went from thinking like that to, oh well, like it literally didn't even like spark up a little bit of anger or anything. So, and that was just from
Wow.
me teaching myself over and over and over again. Every single time I'd start to think and get angry about this situation or that situation or what this person said or what that person said, I'd I'd stop myself and go back
Yeah.
to what I read in that book, and
And
then
reframe it.
go through the processes. Yeah, go through the process of what the book was explaining to me, what to do, and I just done it. And this next time I did it again, and I did it again, and I did it again, and then before you knew it, I just wasn't even doing that. Like it was just until one day I was like, far out. Like I don't even have to stop myself anymore. Like from thinking like that.
Yeah. Would you say, Shannon, because I think this can help people a lot listening to this podcast, because people always say to me, like on recovery podcasts, people always say, do the work, you got to do the work. Have you heard people say that shit before?
Yeah,
I always sit back and I always think, what's the fucking work? What are you talking about?
yeah,
and I think what you're explaining there is actually the work. It's kind of like going to the gym, training your body. You have to do it through repetition. You
yes.
have to retrain your mind through repetition and new thought habits as well. Is that how you would explain it to somebody in a recovery process?
Yeah, 100%. Like you look at exactly like you go to a gym, right? You've never been to the gym before, or you go for a run, you've never ran before. You might only run 40, 50, 60 meters before you get puffed out, and you go back the next day, you do it again, 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 and you'll keep getting further and further and further each time to before you know it, you're running a marathon and not even bothering you. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't even care. You're just doing it like that. It's the same thing with how your mind works and your thought patterns. Like even your thinking. Like I used to be the most negative person in prison. Hated everything. Always whinging. I was the biggest sook. I was fucking like everything got to me. And then I started stopping myself every single time because I was reading that book. And like it's something I'm practicing today. So like, you don't just stop after a few days or a few weeks of doing it. Like you just continue to do it because tiny, like bit by bit, it's gonna just your mind, and you're gonna coach your mind into to to bettering itself and changing the way that thought pattern is to the point where instead of hating that, it's not even gonna bother you, or you end up liking it in the end. You know what I mean? So, but in order to do that, you need patience and you need to practice it all the time. Like you literally need to stop yourself and tell yourself and be honest with yourself. If you fuck up, you got to be honest with yourself and stop and just say, fuck, yeah, I done this or I done that. All right. Well, how am I not going to do this? Or how am I not going to do that again? And then, like, this is what I need to do. So you need to explain to yourself and tell yourself what you need to do as well in order for you for the next time, if it ever happens again or whatever, then you've already thought through that process. Then you can change it up, and then you'll get, like I said, it'll happen less and less and less as the more and more you practice it, or your mindset will change for the better. The more you put your mind to it, and the more you stop yourself from the negative, even negative thoughts. As soon as you start thinking negative, bang, stop yourself. Ask yourself why you're thinking negative. It's silly. Like, then you just turn it. Like, even if you don't believe it, you tell yourself that you love it, that it's positive. You know what I mean? No, I love it. I'm going to get a positive outcome out of this. If I do this, this, and this, who cares if it's hard or there's, or if it's like, this is what's going to happen. This is going to be the end result. Like, like it's all positive. Everything that comes out of your whole entire mindset is you just got to focus on positive, 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 positive. Get all that negative shit out and just keep rolling forward. And look, I haven't even been out 3 years yet. Like I've been out 2 years and 9 months. I think 2 years, 9 months, 2 years, 10 months. And you look at the things that I've achieved in 2 years and 9 months, and the name that I've got around the whole of Australia, even New Zealand, America. Like I got blokes from America and that own their gyms and stuff over there that want me to go over there and do stuff with them. You know what I mean? So
So
it's
cool.
yeah. And like I said, just because one thing I didn't give up. Two, I pissed all that negative shit out and I just positive, 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 positive. And then I've researched every single thing that I could possibly do on the restrictions and conditions that I was on to move forward in life and um, to make wave. Like I was like, all right, well, I've got an ankle monitor tracking device on. I've got a curfew. I've got restrictions on what areas I can go into in Alice Springs or Darwin. Like I said, what's in these areas that I can do? Like, well, what can I do? Like, who can I go visit? What places can I go volunteer at to help to try and educate people and stuff like that to build that kind of mindset that, like where they're going to be winning and kicking goals all the time.
Yeah. Man, you're a very inspiring person. What's that book called that you read? I'll put it in the show
Funny.
notes.
Oh, it's so funny you asked that. I've had that many people ask me, and I read every single book I wrote down. And if you think I could find any of them, I can't. And I've, I've I ripped my room apart and just pulled. I've gone through every single thing you could possibly think of in that room, like more than once, two, probably maybe probably 2 dozen times, and I still haven't found it. Like, um, I'm just gonna have to wait for one of the brothers and that to call me up from Darwin prison and um,
I'll
just
tell
get
you
him
the
to
book
go.
name.
Yeah, or just get him to go and get all the books on mindfulness and Buddhist and stuff like that and write them all down and send it back out, because no doubt that it's all the same books in there that was in there when I was there and they haven't got any new ones or especially in that.
Well, for anyone listening to this, it might not be the exact book that Shannon read, but it sounds like anything on mindfulness and Buddhism can help, be a good starting point to train your mind into a different way of thinking and open up different portals in your brain to get a positive mindset happening, as you said. So that's awesome, man. I love that story. So you mentioned you got restrictions on you now. You're making the best of the situation that you have. What are you up to? What's the plans for you? What are you doing?
Yeah, so yeah, I've still got tracking device on, uh, drug and alcohol testing, and that's basically it. They only just removed my curfew only a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I've just been traveling around Australia like non-stop. I think far out. I've been to Gold Coast, Sydney, Perth, Darwin, heading back up to Kununurra, um, to Darwin again, back to Perth, Melbourne, Sydney, all with by in the next 6 months. doing lived
When you
experience
come
talks.
to Melbourne, you got to hit me up. I'll take you to a good coffee. All right, I'll take
Yeah,
you
yeah,
for a
100%,
good coffee.
bro.
I love it.
100%. So, yeah, definitely. So, yeah, just doing like a heap of lived experience talks, um, going out to community and teaching all the young and old about fitness, about eating healthy, about like your mental health and about positivity and just how to kick goals and keep moving forward in your life, no matter what kind of bad shit that happened to you as a child or as you were growing up. That only you can change that and start doing good. You know what I mean? Like I went from the blame game to blaming everybody else for all my bad shit or anything that happened to me or happened to just, oh, well, like cop it on the chin or whatever like that. I was like, yeah, well, that happened or this happened, but how am I going to turn it into a positive? How am I going to educate other people? How am I going to help other people? So then they can not let that drag them down all the time and defeat them, but better their lives for them and their families, especially if they got kids, because in the end, if they're kids that are going to be affected more than them, but they just, they're within their mindset because, like they're that angry, they're that upset, whatever, that depressed over it all. They don't actually see what it's the effects that it's having on their children or their other family. You know what I mean? So yeah, yeah, got a heap of filming coming up too. So yeah, about to blow back up on the stage again, I reckon. So
Love it. Love it.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome.
But
Well,
the main thing is obviously what I'm trying to do. So I try to help everybody. It doesn't matter, Indigenous, non-Indigenous. Like like I love everybody, bro. And but obviously I am Indigenous, and a lot of mob in the system and stuff like that are trapped and need a bit more guidance than the rest is my mob. So a lot of my messages and that get to them, and I try and incorporate, like I said, the traditional dancing and that with all my exercises and stuff like that to try and teach the kids. I'm trying to help all the youth crime rates, trying to get that to change. So I do it through cultural dancing and in exercise reels and all this as well, because um, to try and get them to re-engage in that stuff, and instead of
it's a creative idea because I was watching them the other day, and I love all that cultural stuff, and I've never seen anyone incorporate it into exercise before. So you hit on a real thing. It's awesome. It's great.
yeah, it's unique. See, I'm one of a kind because, and I did it by pure accident. Like because I always preach on my reels and stuff like that, my truth telling stories and that what I've done on Instagram and Facebook and all that, like on TikTok. I always preach about re-engaging, reconnecting, relearning language, culture, dance, art, and stuff like that. And no matter what, if you're Indigenous or not Indigenous, but all I was doing was wearing Aboriginal t-shirts when I was preaching it, and I thought, well, hang on, I'm going to have to actually show them, like that. And bro, like this is nowhere to blow. I haven't danced culturally since I was a kid, you know. So,
Yeah.
and I'm 40 years old in a couple of months, bro. And I thought, um, fuck it, look, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna teach myself through watching YouTube clips and getting family. Like, and 10 minutes before I go out and train, I'll watch a couple of YouTube clips, bro, and I'll go out in the red dirt and do a few dance moves, record it, boom, boom, add that to my film clip,
Love it.
And then
Yeah.
now I'm getting requests from brothers and all that from all over Australia, from northeast, southwest, central, that we're in the process of, like, they're going to send me, obviously shirts, Indigenous design shirts and Torres Strait Islander shirts and stuff, and then I'm going to chuck them on, do a dance in that for them, and learn a bit of their language, where they're from, incorporate that into my reels, and then I'm going to send a shout out to them and do that. Like, it's actually gone pretty viral. Like, it's blowing right up, and it's like you said, there's not one person ever in Australia that's ever done that. So, well, I don't even think in the world, you know what I mean? Like, I've never seen anybody that's incorporated cultural dancing or whatever that into exercise. So,
Yeah, no, I think it's really, really cool. I think it's really, really cool. Hey, man, you've got something unique. I can tell, like through. I know I'm talking to you through a computer, but there's like some sort of spirit that is like connected in big time with you, and you go on places, and you have one hell of a story to tell as well. So I wish you all the best on your journey, and I appreciate you so much for coming on and sharing all your experiences. What's one thing I hate to finish on this, but because you have dropped so much good wisdom bombs, I want you to drop one more. What's one message that you would want to leave people with that are listening to this podcast, whether they're on drugs or going down a life of crime? What's one thing that you would want to leave them with?
Probably stay sober, stay fit.
Love it. Love it. Stay sober, stay fit.
Stay sober, stay fit. That's best life.
Perfect. All right. On that note, everybody, we're going to peace out, and we'll be vibing in your ears again soon. Have a good night, everybody. Peace.